After several days of snow, it was time to hit the road again. We found ourselves in a beautiful forest within the northern Arizona terrain and had some friends join us for a few days. Spring had finally come back to life after winter's last grip, and the temperatures are back in the 60s and 70s. And unlike at the campground, the dogs loved having more room to run around and sniff new things. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Let's take it back a few days when this story starts. You guessed right. Danya and I met Larry from Work Less, Enjoy Life More. We all met up in the Costco parking lot in caravan to a special place Brian from Off-Grid Backcountry Adventures shared with us. We all planned to meet Brian there and spend the weekend hiking, fishing, and hanging out. Alright, we got into a little bit of a sticky situation where Larry was a little bit too tall to get through this one section, and of course his walkie-talkie died right when he was hitting that spot, so we were all talking to him and he couldn't hear us, and he was talking to us and we couldn't hear him. So thankfully we kept an eye on him, because that's what good caravanners do. So we went out, Danya went out there and helped him spot and give him an extra walkie, but now we're cruising on pretty nice terrain, so. Hello, Branch. We scouted for a good campsite that could accommodate 4 rigs with space in between, good sun exposure with shade, and the ability to connect to Starlink. This area is a dead zone for most cell providers, but with Verizon, I was able to snag 1 bar here and there. Being in the trees is awesome when escaping the sun, but sometimes it comes with limitations. In this location, Starlink struggled to stay connected, and the sun only provided partial solar for charging devices. But we weren't here to stay connected to the outside world. We were here to escape the day-to-day hustle and bustle. Brian was a little delayed, but he made it and found a spot to post up for the next few days. We all settled in and we prepared for tomorrow's activities. Each of us had a few things to take care of before dinner, but we all met up by the fire later that evening. The dogs really enjoyed all the sounds and smells, and I love seeing them so engaged with nature. Moments like this really make me appreciate the life they live. Larry had his traditional beertini, Danya had her bourbon, and I grabbed a can of olives and attempted to recreate my own version of a beertini. And Danya and Agran carried on quite the conversation. Having Agran and Pike with me in this little thing called life makes it so much more enjoyable. However, my guys get a little overstimulated around other dogs and people, so I try to be mindful of how they're doing, and I make sure to do frequent check-ins with them. It was an early night because we had big plans the next day. Little did we know how much of a workout the day would bring. Oh my goodness, my talking dog. There's my Pike man. Here's my Agaroni. All right, let's make some coffee. Upstairs. So Agron's hips are getting pretty bad pretty quickly. For being 11 years old, he's doing pretty good with his hips. He hasn't really had too many issues until the last 2 years. I've started noticing small signs. But this last month or so, I've started noticing significant signs of his hip discomfort. So he's not going to be joining us on today's trek, but the temperatures are going to be nice, and I'm not too worried. Donnie's going to keep an eye on him. So that's kind of a bummer. I've been chatting with the vet and doing research online on how to give him comfort and what modifications I could make into his diet. And so we're doing the things, but I'm also doing morning and evening hip massages, and that seems to be helping a lot, and he'll kind of grunt a little bit, so I think he likes it. So but that's kind of a bummer that he doesn't get to go with us on today's trek, but it's okay. We'll give him extra 11 when we get back. Alright, we've got Brian and Larry, and then Danya's sticking behind. So I think we're going to be okay, but we're going to go do this hike, and I'm looking forward to it.
Stop. cool. There's a bunch of Native American ruins on like the bridges around here too.
Oh, really?
Yeah. There's one that's like further south, or I guess downstream. I guess that's like west. And it's like tucked up underneath this ledge, right on the top of it. It's like that amazing, huge ruins.
This is super steep.
Yeah.
The northern Arizona wilderness is something truly special. The vast terrain offers tons of recreational opportunities, from hiking, backpacking, fishing, and cave exploration.
I love the bird songs down in here. They're like amplified because we're in a canyon, so you hear them more.
The hike we did today was a boulder hop down and a boulder hop back up. My legs were like jello by the end of the hike, but was it worth it? Yes. Oh my gosh, look at these rocks, you guys. Oh, they're just spectacular. They're massive. I think I'm gonna go this way.
How's everybody doing?
Good.
Alright, now it kind of mellows out. Down there.
Wow.
Uh-oh, there it goes. That's an animal.
That's a big old animal. I thought it was a rock.
I first thought it did, but then it kept going. I'm like,
I saw something like leap.
Yeah, I did too. I'm wondering what's down there. Well, don't worry, guys. I'm first. If it attacks us, it'll get me.
Like right here. Out that way. Larry thinks it was an elk. So, at least we know it's probably not a bear. We're almost to the water. We are just about down to the creek. And hopefully, where we're going to catch some fish.
There's a rock down here. It has so much scat on it. And there's a lot of it. It's on this huge rock.
Oh my gosh, I see it.
It's covered. It smells really bad too. I'm wondering if that's mountain lion.
Ooh.
Because it's got a really, really strong urine smell.
Ooh.
Really strong. Like I might go post up on that center island there. Take these rocks to get out there. So you see those rocks right there? We have to get on the rock covered with poop, but go out there and then get in that center portion. I'm gonna fly cast all around those areas, like on the overhangs and stuff. Because there's fish rides and they don't look really big, but there might be some bigger ones in here.
Oh my goodness.
And then around the corner, there's a huge pool that has big fish. So you can take this little trail here and go right there. This isn't as deep. That one is water. Hey, Meadow, don't spook him. I'm almost inclined to go over there instead and set up and then fish like that sidewall. Because you know there's fish just sitting there. These are what are considered like stream bred trout. Look how beautiful the coloring.
Oh my gosh.
The coloring is on them.
Oh my goodness.
So.
Wow, that's pretty.
Yeah, it's really nice looking.
It was all catch and release for us today, but between the beautiful fish and seeing 3 golden eagles, I'd say the day was a success. Okay, we just got back from the walk and we're all pretty exhausted and wiped out. I think we're gonna make some lunch, take a nap, and then I think we're just gonna drink a cold beverage because my refrigerator is now ice cold. I actually had to turn the settings down because things were starting to get slushy. Turn it into slushy. Wow, I can't talk. This hike today kicked my butt. The sheriff's department just showed up and advised that they are looking for a missing person. She's been missing since April 3rd and it's been a month. in honor of Cinco de Mayo, Danya went into town and got some Cinco de Mayo festivities. So she made margaritas in her bullet container.
We have some chicken marinating for fajitas.
Fajitas. And then we got cheese, and she made her bomb guacamole. I'm gonna smell it. That smells bomb.
So,
diggity.
just so you guys know, these are fresh margaritas. So it has tequila, it has Cointreau, and it has 6 fresh limes.
Yeah, buddy.
And a little water. We're gonna need to add water.
We may have to add water because she made them pretty strong.
Should we take a sip?
As the boys do tour reviews back there. All right, cheers.
Cheers!
Woo.
I didn't even use all the tequila.
That'll make your hair stick up.
I didn't even use all the tequila, folks. So, we just add a little bit of water to that.
No big deal. Thank you, my dear. I don't think it needs much water.
Yeah, just a titch. As my stepmom says, a titch. We'll just let the ice do its thing.
And let it get cold and then
Let it
enjoy.
marinate on the ice.
I just hope I keep all my fingers.
Ooh, look at all those beautiful colors.
And just chicken fajitas, all sorts of stuff. I'm looking forward to it, and it's just can't wait for this.
All right, it is almost time to enjoy this beautiful dinner that we have here, thanks to Danya and Brian. So I'm really looking forward to just having some great Cinco de Mayo festivities in the works.
Right?
Baby. All right, my friends, I think it's time for a camper update. I've been hinting that there's been some issues on the camper. I boondock about 98% of the time that I'm on the road. I need my system to work off the grid, and my problem started happening a couple weeks after I hit the road. So obviously a couple weeks after being connected to shore power, my first thought was, well, maybe the battery's dead. So I purchased a charge controller when I first got the camper, and I installed it with the Bluetooth app so that I can monitor the solar and the battery, and I discovered I was only producing about 8 volts on the camper battery. And I think that that's really gonna be the main culprit for a good portion of the issues that I'm facing. I went ahead and I replaced the battery with a brand new deep cycle, and I've now been monitoring it consistently, and it's maintaining charge, and it's staying anywhere between 12 and 14 volts. So that actually solved a lot of my issues, like with the roof vent not working and some of my other things not working, but that didn't solve the propane issue. So I knew I had working propane because my stove runs off propane, and I've been cooking every single day with no issues, but it's the furnace and the refrigerator that I've been having issues with while running off propane. I'm not really sure what happened with the furnace, but all of a sudden it started working, and it could have been a leveling issue, or it could have just been a coincidence. I thought I was out of propane, but I wasn't. So there was a lot of confusion around why the furnace wasn't working and why all of a sudden it is working, but it's working now, and that's an unsolved mystery. But the fridge is something I'm able to solve for. So I'm thinking maybe it was a leveling issue. I'm not sure, but it is now working on propane, and it's working so good that it freezes things. So I had to go turn the dial to raise the temperature up a bit. But I still haven't quite figured out the 12 volt, but I think 12 volts is just a really slow way to charge your fridge. So I usually just turn the propane off when I'm driving, turn it back on when I get to camp, and things stay cold as long as I don't open the door and I'm not gone for too long. But the propane seems to be working with the fridge now, so that's great. The water heater still isn't working very well. I know it does work because when I purchased the camper, it produced hot water. I just think that there's something on the outside that I need to fiddle with, and I just haven't had the time or the desire to really do that. I'm used to taking cold showers from living in the 4Runner, so washing my hair in cold water doesn't bother me, but that's something I still need to diagnose. Another issue I was having is the water pump. I would turn the water pump on and water wouldn't come out of the spout. Well, I think that's because I didn't have enough water in the tanks, let's just be honest. So I filled that sucker to the brim, and I don't have a monitoring system, so it's really hard for me to know unless it starts spitting water back out, but I went ahead and filled it until it was spitting out, and I turned the water pump on and everything was working. So that could be a combination of the battery and just not having enough water, and that solved that problem. But I do have a small leak on the exterior water spout. There's a quick release tube to the clean water tank and there's a leak on that. So it's a slow leak, but over the course of a few days, it will drain my entire fresh water tank to dry. And I think that's why I was having issues with the water pump, because I didn't know that. And I was running out of water, and that's why I was having some issues. But now that I know that that's an issue, I'm gonna go look for that part and see if I can't replace it pretty easily. It doesn't look like it's all that complicated. It's just a little twist valve. I'm on the hunt for one of those as well, but that seems to be solving most of my camper issues. So once I replaced the battery, I didn't have any more issues with the fan and with the water pump and all those things. And I'm now aware of my water situation, so I'm more mindful of that. And I figured out where my water tank is, and thankfully it's underneath the camper, so I don't have to worry about that thing leaking all over the inside. It is an external leak, so thank goodness for that. But I do have another 2 leaks in my rear bubble window. I resealed it before I left, and I'm not sure why it's leaking. The only thing I can come up with is when I'm off-roading, I'm shifting a lot of pressure, and maybe it's caused a compromise in the silicone and there's some micro holes and it's causing some leakage. But I have a tarp in the meantime, so I will be repairing that window and doing some work on the things that are constantly breaking in this little camper. So you guys, that's pretty much the latest update on the camper issues that I'm having. Like I said, I think 90% of it was operator error, and I'm still learning. You know, this setup is very similar, but it's also very different from my truck camper. And then I lived in a 4Runner for 2.5 years where I didn't have all of these amenities that I have now. So it's definitely been a learning experience, but we're getting there, and I'm getting a lot more comfortable with this camper, and I think it's all gonna work out just fine. It's just a matter of getting in there and fixing some of the issues that are causing some minor inconveniences, but until then, I've got workarounds. But that's the latest and greatest, so I'll keep you guys posted as time progresses and things change, but that's the direction that we're heading. So I'm gonna go ahead and wrap up this video because I gotta get to my next destination, but I appreciate you guys being here and watching this video. If you enjoyed it, give it a like, leave me a comment, share the video with someone you think might benefit from the content, and don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell notification so you don't miss out on future content. All right, guys, that's gonna do it. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.